Hey friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and this is Bandit, my dog, my trusty dog. Today we're taking a look at the KakBritva sword sharpening system, guided sharpening system where you clamp down the knife and sharpen at a very specific angle so that you can get the exact same angle along the full length of a very long blade. It also works for tiny knives as well, like regular pocket knives in anything up. So if you're looking for a guided sharpening system and you've got pocket knives and fixed blades and machetes and swords, or any combination of those other than just pocket knives and short fixed blade knives, if you've got a number of knives that are over 7, 8, 9, 10 inches, 12, 24, 36, 5 feet long blades maybe, big two-hand messer, yeah, if you've got something big and you want to get an exact angle, this might be the device for you. I did an unboxing video of it. In there, I described more of the how to set it up and how to use it. This is my thoughts on it. So stay tuned. It's coming to you right. First, I apologize for the poor lighting here. I am not in my studio. I'm in my basement. I brought some of my studio lights down, but it's still darker in here. I really, really like this thing. If you're just going to watch a few minutes of this video, this sharpener is totally worth it. This is a great system for sharpening. If you haven't watched the unboxing video, my first impressions video, watch that. And this video is basically just going to be my conclusion. That video shows how it works. These adjust. That's how you adjust the angle that you're going to sharpen at. And you could change the angle along the length of the blade by putting one side lower than the other side if you want. They've got micro adjusters here, so you can do just tiny adjustments up and down until you get it dialed in on the angle you want. You can use a digital angle finder, and you put it on this blue section right here to measure the angle. First off, the starting angle is the angle of this table. That's going to be your 0. And then you put it on here, and between here and here is the angle that you are sharpening at. And it just works wonderfully. As you move along the knife, you just move down and you're just going along down the knife. It just works wonderfully. I like that they put these little rubbers on so you don't over stroke and rub your sharpener edges. So you're only rubbing your stone. This is actually a strop that I've got in here now. So you're only rubbing this main section on your knife to do your sharpening, your edge, I should say. And that's all it takes, these little rubbers. It works great. You can put very long stones in here if you want to. Venev makes some 8-inch long stones, 1.5 inches wide, 8 inches long, that I really love. And those are what I've used a lot of in here. But I also did it with smaller stones, like the regular traditional 6-inch by 1-inch stones. I've used those on here too, and it just works very, very well. If you're going to concentrate in one area, you can just snug that down and then just work in that, snug it down and just work in that area. It's just going to stay put. Or you can leave it loose and go freely along. When you're first learning and getting your muscle memory for this thing, I would suggest you snug it down until you get used to it. Because if you leave this loose, sometimes it'll go off on you because you've got really good ball bearings in here that just ride on there very freely. It's just very easy to go from side to side on this thing. So that just stops it from sliding along freely. Very well made. Machined aluminum. This right now, I've got a regular kind of thing that's got the notch in it. Just goes all the way to the full depth. If you've got flat-ended stones, this grips those as well because you got that nice grip. It's a very good system, and it's only about the same price as a Tsprof K03. It's actually less money than that. In case you didn't watch the other video, you can loosen these up. If you've got a really long knife that you've locked down, you can move it over. Imagine the knife's way longer, so you can bring it over and then way over to the other side, and you just snug this down when you're at the spot where you want to work. That's just great. If your knife is within this range, of course, you don't have to move it back and forth then, just if it's a whole lot longer. So that's really good. You can move these clamps wherever you want. It comes with 5 of them. I think 5 is plenty for, this length that you have here. They hold on well. You use a 5mm Allen key to move the clamps around, and then you use a 4mm Allen key to squeeze the clamps down. So that's easy to use. It's a wonderful system. I think it's great. What are the shortcomings or flaws? No manual. There's no manual with this, and when I got it, this main part comes pre-assembled, and it was partially wrongly assembled. And so the one side was correct, and so I made this side, the left side, to match the right side. It just took a tiny bit of work, unscrewing screws. These are all 4mm up here, and some of these are 5mm in here. It doesn't come with this, I don't think it comes with this one, but it comes with Allen keys, so you're all set. You've got everything you need. And you can go to a very wide angle on here for sharpening. So if you want to sharpen something at way too much of an angle, you can. This right here, where it's about 2/3 of the way up, that's already 25 degrees. So you can easily get to past 30 degrees. And of course, you can go down to very, very low angle if you want to. So that's really good. It's easy to use. The bearings, it slides well in here. It's very comfortable. The other cons, I was talking about cons now, wasn't I? These are the only clamps that come with it. I wish there was a varying length of clamps. That way, if you've got a knife, like a Persian saber with a big arc to it, if it had different length clamps, you could clamp on something that's got more of an arc to it. That would help a lot. I've checked the website of the maker, KakBritva. Their website's in Russian. It's kakbritva.ru. And yeah, I couldn't find any other clamps. Hopefully somebody knows of some that I could put on here, but I don't know of any other clamps. That would be a really good thing. At this price, I wish they would have used real plywood, like birch plywood, which is some of the best plywood that's out there, or if they would have used solid wood. But I think I would prefer birch plywood over solid wood, because solid wood, if it gets into a humid environment, it'll swell a little bit, and if it gets into a really dry environment, it might warp a little bit. But this is just this fiber particle board, and that's a little too cheap. One of my boards had a little bit of damage on it, and another guy told me that he bought one and his had a little bit of damage on it. Remember, it's getting shipped from Russia, so that's understandable. So if they would have used high-grade plywood, like birch plywood, that would be better. That being said, the plywood or the wood part of this, you could remake if you need to. Or if you're into woodworking, you have woodworking equipment, you could remake it. If you don't, you could probably find somebody who's into woodworking, or hire a woodworking cabinet making shop or whatever to make a replacement piece for you instead of buying another whole unit. So those are the main cons. I wish there was a manual and in English. I wish they would have assembled it perfectly the first time from the factory. And I wish this was better wood. Oh, fourth, I wish they had the option, or if it came with different size clamps as well that reach out further so that you can more securely clamp something that's got a curve on it. One other thing is, you want some clamps. I got these big F clamps to clamp it down onto a surface. if you don't clamp it down, it slides around, and that's not a good thing. And you can get a really good job done on a sword. You know, I've got this cheap night watchman sword. It's cheap as in it's not a very high quality steel, but it's kind of fun. I've tried using it. I tried cutting some bottles, but I'm not trained with swords. Plus, if you're holding something round, it's really hard to index it perfectly. I think I had it straight and I came across and I turned it sideways and just spanked the side of the bottles instead of slicing through it. But I got a very sharp edge out of this thing and it just worked really, really well. So I recommend this because there's nothing else like it that I know of. If you know of another sword sharpening system that uses a guided mechanism, please let me know about it. But for me, this is something that you can get your exact angle that you want along the full length of your sword or large knife with very little skill in sharpening needed. If you're hand sharpening, that can get really hard to do very well on a long blade. It just is not easy. And this thing takes that work out of your hands and puts it into one of these. But there you go. Yeah, Bandit wants on my lap again. You probably saw him in the corner of that video. But thank you so much for watching this. Thanks for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And remember, friends, cut towards your chum, not your thumb.